Yes,
Yes.
you are heard.
Okay.
Let's go.
Thank you very much. So to continue with our meeting for tonight, or for today, we'll get to meet our speakers, and we're about entering the peak event for today's program. But I want to bring up our moderator in the person of Mavis Kolube, the OAAD Vice President for Southern Africa. Mavis, over to you, please. Let's get to meet our speakers.
Thank you very much, Victoria. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, colleagues, a very warm welcome to the 2022 OAAD International Women's Day series. This is the first of its kind, and I'm so happy that I get to be the first moderator for this event. As stated before, the theme for the panel discussion is elimination of gender biases for sustainable development in Africa. You'll all agree with me that we are all influenced by gender. Gender norms define what is proper in our culture for girls and boys, what is proper for women and men. Girls and women are frequently overlooked and have inferior social status as a result of gender stereotypes. The unfavorable social norms that women face are translated into gender disparities in human capital development and also in economic activities. It's also important to state that our boys and men also suffer. Boys and men are forced to behave in extremely constrained ways because of ideas about what it means to be a man, which are very harmful. Boys who are pushed to have negative masculinities contribute to the perpetuation of prejudice and injustices. Because of the gender biases that we have in our society, as a continent, we remain off target to achieve SDG 5 on gender equality. Yes, there is progress. When you look at health and education, our women are going to school, our girls are going to school, even facilities, good facilities are availed for them in hospitals and clinics. But when you look at economic opportunities and participation, you realize that we're still lagging behind as a continent. And because of COVID-19, we expect the gender gap in economic opportunities to increase. In fact, when you look at the global gender gap report for 2011, it specifies that it will take about 267 years for the gender gap in economic opportunity to be closed. You will agree with me, this is unacceptable. Unacceptable because we cannot wait for 2 centuries for half of the population in the world to continue being left out. We must eliminate inequalities in our society, and this starts with us addressing the social norms that lead to gender inequality. As OAAD, we are very intentional about Africa's problems. And that is why you see that today we are gathered here having this panel. To lead our discussion, I have 2 women who are doing the most in their careers, doing the most in their countries, Mrs. Adesami and Dr. Malebogo Bakwena. I'm going to start by introducing Mrs. Adesami. She's an ex-banker with over 27 years working experience in the banking industry. Her academic journey began with a BSc in zoology and later an MBA in marketing. She's an alumni of the senior management program from the Lagos Business School and honorary member of the Chartered Institute of Bankers in Nigeria. She started her banking career in 1990 in the AfriBank Nigeria PLC and moved to Prudent Bank, having spent 10 years. Prudent Bank merged with other banks to become Sky Bank, and she rose to become group head, Victoria Island region of Sky Bank, having worked in various units like the Treasury, branch banking, etc. She decided to leave the banking industry in 2018 and to start off Equitem Limited, a financial services company that supports small businesses with financial advice and funds. Like I said, these two women joining us are two women who are doing the most in their career. And I must emphasize, it's not just their career. They're doing the most even as mothers and wives and inspiring young ladies out there. We also have Dr. Malebogo Bakwena. She's a top 10 finalist for the 2021 Strategic African Women in Leadership, SAWIL. Malebogo wears many hats as a leader. She's currently the head of department for the economics department at the University of Botswana, the chairperson of the Botswana Competition and Consumers Authority Board Directors. She's a member of the Central Bank's Board, Bank of Botswana. Like I said, she's a woman of many hats, so I'm reading through all the positions that she currently holds. She also serves in organizations outside Botswana. For example, she's the chairperson of the African Economic Research Consortium, ARC's collaborative master's program and collaborative PhD programs for core and electives committee in Nairobi. She's passionate about empowering and nurturing young people. She has mentored many girls in organizations such as SOS and Girls for Girls mentorship program. Dr. Bakwena holds a PhD in economics from University of Queensland, Australia, MSc Economics and Finance from York in UK, and a bachelor's in arts economics and statistics from University of Botswana. So welcome, Mrs. Adesomi. Welcome, Dr. Bakwena. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Okay, I think you are here with you.
Okay. Before we start our discussion, to all our guests, you are also going to be part of this discussion. I will ask a question, our two panelists will respond, and you'll also get an opportunity to ask a question or to comment on the question that I've asked. And I'm going to start with an easy one. Ladies, right now I just introduced your career profiles, like Dr. Bakwena introduced the economist and the woman who wears many hats. Mrs. Adesomi, I've introduced the banker, the CEO. I want you to introduce the woman behind the brand, like the wife, the daughter, the mother, in just a minute. Starting with you, Mrs. Adesomi.
Okay. Good day, everyone. I'm Oyiko Adesomi, and I'm married to Dele Adesomi, a practicing tax consultant and a chartered accountant. We've been married for over 33 years, and we have 3 sons, 2 of whom are CEOs and co-founders of startups, both in Nigeria and the United Kingdom. Our 3rd son is also an engineer that resides and works in Canada. My first is married, and I have a granddaughter. I love interacting with the younger generation, and I'm passionate about helping teenagers from the less privileged background with funds and mentorship to get through school. I love learning new things, and I'm currently learning Forex trading. So I believe that captures it, the woman behind.
Thank you very much.
I'm done.
Dr. Abakwena, in a minute, tell us the lady behind the brand.
Okay. Affectionately known as Lebo. Lebo normally for non-speaking Botswana, and also because I don't have a middle name, so everybody tends to call me Lebo. I'm a wife. I've been wife for quite some time now, 21 years. I married to Dutuba Kwena. He's a tax professional. He's a tax commissioner now with the Botswana Unified Revenue Service. I'm a mother of two beautiful kids. Pito, my son, he's 18 going on 19 now, and he's just started university rather, not high school. Sitloa, my daughter, she's 11 going on 12, and she'll be starting high school in January next year. In my free time, I garden. And like you rightly said, Mrs. Kobe, I also empower young women through mentorship and benefaction. I consider these two activities synonymous in the sense that I get to nurture and see a plant or a young person grow and just blossoms into something amazing. So that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. I've observed that you ladies have a lot in common. Your husbands are all doing something related to tax. That's really interesting. Okay, now to the first question, and this is going to be personal based on your introduction. Mrs. Adesomi, today you are a happy, fulfilled grandma, and you are the CEO of your own organization, and you're still contributing a lot to the economy of your country. From your introduction, I've noted that your sons are responsible global citizens, contributing very meaningfully to our world's sustainable development. But from your introduction, I also realized that from a very young age, you and your husband have always been also involved in your career. You're in the banking industry, your husband also in the banking industry. So I'm just here wondering, how were you able to raise 3 successful young men and not to lose them to the wild world as we see right now? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. I would say number one is support. And my number one supporter is my husband. He's been a huge support from the beginning. We also had other supports, in-laws, nannies that come in and all that. But he was the number one support. We split roles. We baited our children together. He would take the first 2, I would take the last one. So he was always there. He knew his role. He wanted to always be at the parents and teachers meeting in school. So it was really very, it was easier on me. Easier, yes, I had to do most of the things, but he supported. If I'm not back home and he's back, he made sure that the homeworks were done, the children were fed and all that. So that was actually good for me. Secondly, I decided, if you look at the write-up about me, I stayed in the first bank that I got employed in for 10 years. I did this so that my children, I could have quality time with my children. that bank, AfriBank, was what you would call an old generation bank in Nigeria. So you can work 8 to 5. You didn't have to work beyond that. I opted to stay there and not go to the newer generation banks where you would stay, you're expected to be there till like 10 in the night. But promotions were faster in the newer generation. In the older generation where I decided to stay, promotions came 3 to 4 years, no matter how good you are. The best you could get was maybe 2.5 years and all that. So I decided to stay. At least when I get home, I had quality time with my children. And so that was that. And also, we made things easier because we live in a cosmopolitan state in Nigeria. That's Lagos State, where you had heavy traffic. You had to commute. If you were commuting a longer route, you had to commute for hours. So we decided that our children's school will be near our home so that they would also get home early enough so that they could rest, do their homework, and I would come and meet them at home. So all this together, I mean, I believe that is what contributed. Having the quality time with the children was because there are some things that they're not taught in school, and that the support, I mean, the nannies wouldn't know. I mean, there are things that you only, as a mother, especially as a nurturer, will be able to figure out. Even things that they don't tell you, you can sense it. So that was it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a request from our guests. Can you kindly switch on your camera? They want to see the speakers.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I couldn't see you as well, Mavis. I couldn't see you.
Yes. I'll also switch on my video.
Okay.
Okay, like I said, my first question is personal and it's based on the introduction. Dr. Bagwena, you are also a woman of many hats and you're doing so much. I've also noted that you said you recently celebrated your 21st wedding anniversary and your son has just begun his university studies. On behalf of all the ladies who are pursuing their PhD, those who recently received that PhD, I would like to ask, like, how do you do all this, Dr. Bagwena? And I'm also posing this question for the husbands who are here today, so that they know how to support their wives and those who will take wives in this path. Thank you.
Thank you. Like you said, Mavis, we have a lot in common with Mrs. Odesami. I didn't do it. We did it. Who is we? My family, my husband, very supportive in terms of taking care of the kids. And the instances where, as professionals, the instances where we can't both make it to, say, a school event, but we always tried to make sure that our calendars coincided with the school events and we're always there for the kids. But in those rare instances, we have help at home. We have a live-in house helper to help around. We have relatives, be it a sister, a mother-in-law, who would help, especially when, at the early stages when the kids were younger. So it's basically the support system. And I would advise the young professionals out there to tap into the robust support network. And as Africans, we are blessed. The extended family is always there for us. If you can't afford to have someone help, or if you can't afford pay someone to help, you know, a cousin, someone will help in that family. So please don't shy away from accepting help. I know in some instances, as women, we think it's a sign of weakness. No, it's not a sign of weakness. We need help here and there, and especially at home. So the tax professionals have been very supportive and been there for us. So that's what makes it easy. So we did as the community. So I think I'll stop there. And just the last one, do I still have more time, Ma? A few seconds?
Just 30 seconds.
We even had a sticker in our fridge which read, "We are in this together." And the idea was that from the boys at the time was that I should always remember that I'm not alone in the PhD journey. It gets very lonely out there. So
thank you very much, Dr. Bakwena. One thing that I picked from what you said and what Mrs. Adesome said is that support is very important, especially when you're starting your career and also starting a family. And I also liked what you said when you said asking for help, it's not a weakness. It's something that we should always do. Miriam, I can see that your hand is up, so I'll take your question or your comment before the next question. Miriam, you can unmute your mic. Miriam. Oh. Miriam, can you hear me? Do we have any other questions or comments while we wait for Miriam and before our second question? Like I said, this is a discussion. In between, I'll be taking comments and questions. We are talking about something that affects all of us from grassroots level. So let's give questions and comment and also give advice to our ladies here with regard to the question that I just posed to our panelists. Okay, I'm going to assume we don't have a question or comment because I don't see any question or comment in the chat box. Now to the second question. It has been observed that one spouse quitting their career to care for children is very common in couples. Did at one point you or your husband feel compelled to leave your job owing to either societal pressure or pressure from home? Obviously, because I'm here with you ladies, and one is a CEO, the other is an HOD and has many other posts. It means you guys did not quit, but did at one point your husband decide that no, it's enough, I'm going to quit and focus on the family while you do the work? You can start, Dr. Bakwena. I'm going to keep on interchanging you. Dr. Bakwena, you can start.
Okay. That issue never arose because, like I said, I strongly believe that the fact that my work provides a somewhat flexible schedule has helped in this regard. I don't have to work an 8 to 5. I do work as and when it's needed. And I tend to have that flexible schedule. And the answer is no. It boils down to the issue of support again. The support within and from outside the relationship. It's always absorbed the pressures that are associated with our jobs. Therefore, if my husband needs support or somewhere to lean in, I'll be there to support. And the same would apply in this regard. In fact, when I was doing my PhD, My son was very young, but he stayed behind in Botswana with my husband, and because of the support, he was able to juggle his own work and also taking care of the toddler. So yeah, the support and the flexibility in the hours of work did help.
Thank you, Dr. Bakwena. Mrs. Adesomi, do you want to add something?
Yes, we both didn't quit, but there was a time I thought of it. At the formative stage of my children, because I worked in a bank, there was a time I was posted as a young banker. I was posted out of my area to the island, which meant that I would have to leave home by 5 a.m. in the morning. I won't be back because of commuting and heavy traffic, and I won't be back until late in the night. So at that time, I seriously thought of it. And what I did was that I went to meet the HR, that I told them my problem, because it meant that I wouldn't see my children until the weekend. Other people will be taking care of them. Yes, their father will be there, but he was also a banker. And so I went to meet them, and I was posted back. I went to discuss it, and I was posted back, to my area so that I could, see them. So that was it.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies. I'm still going to continue on this question. It did not happen for you ladies, but you have friends, you have relatives. Like, have you seen this happen? And how does it affect the women who are forced because of their work, not because of their work, because of family issues, to quit and take care of the kids or become homemakers instead of continuing with their career? How does it affect them? It's not just an issue of money, but I'm looking at the, the psychological aspects and the long run. Like, do you see your friends, like when you are out, when your achievements are there on LinkedIn, do you see them saying something negative that, you know what, had I not quit my job, I'll probably be here? Like, how does it affect them? And I'm asking this because currently we are having so many issues of people facing mental health issues, people committing suicide. So it's very important that we address it, because I bet someone in the panel here is probably in that situation where they're forced maybe to quit their PhD and take care of the children, or quit their job. Like in a minute.
Not that I can think of. I don't have that. I don't have friends. I can't think of anyone that quit their job because they had to go and take care of the children. I don't.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Bakwena?
I can only think of one person in the family, but it was only for a short while. It was out of choice even then. So it wasn't because they were forced to. It was an issue of feeling unfulfilled in that job, but not really because of being overwhelmed. So I would say no. I guess it boils down also to the issue that you need that support. And I always say it's an African thing. We always have family and people around to sort of help. So but I would hate to have to quit because I don't have a choice and because I'm forced to. It would be a pity, because then it means I'm not distributing what I have and a sort of way helping, especially for a small economy like Botswana, where my professional, or we need as much professional help as possible. It would be a pity, but I wouldn't say I've come across it.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a question from Fortuna. She's saying, please, today we see these young ladies are under constant pressure with the superwoman stereotype. Based on your experiences, please, what advice can you give us about this? I'm also going to take a comment from Heba, and then you can answer. Heba? Yes, I will repeat the question.
Yeah,
Heba?
hello everyone.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for this organization. I like this one. And I'd like to thank these two precious women. They are a beautiful role model and successful one. Both of them are speak about this partner are so supportive for them. But what I say, they both of them have their own dreams. They have to catch their own dreams. So if they catch their own dreams, they have ambition to success. There's not only support for their partners. They focus on their dream. Even they are wife and mommies and have a lot of difficulties in their life, but they focus on their dream. So how can they just go through all of this? Because we are young women, we have to so that's what I want to know. Thanks everyone.
Heba, I did not get the last part of your comment or question. Like, I think, I don't know if it's my internet or internet, but the last part, I could not hear it.
Yeah, I'd like to ask them how they go through, they focus on their dream, okay, to be successful woman. Yeah, how they just ruin everything around them, the life difficulties and everything, and just be patient and just focus on their dream, you know, because it's life difficulties. We are young women, they just know you have something to make you depressed and just slow down your move. No, what they do, what happened, how they go through all of this.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Any response, Dr. Bagwena, Mrs. Adesomi, in a minute?
Can you help repeat the question? Can you let us, because I didn't get it.
She's Heba was asking that how did you manage to pursue your dream with all the pressures that you have to go through? What is that one thing that kept on motivating you to continue, even though there were so many obstacles around you? And then Fortuna, she's asking, with the constant pressure of Superwoman, I can do it all, what advice do you have for young ladies who are always told that, no, you are a superwoman, you can do it?
Should I go first?
Yes, please.
Okay, for the first one, what motivated me was that I had a goal in mind. And I planned it in such a way that it's a win-win situation for everybody. So for my children, and that is why I said that I stayed somewhere that I wasn't promoted as often as I would have been promoted if I had gone to somewhere else, a newer bank, you know. So that it would be a win-win situation for the children too, I stayed on, made sure that they came out of, I went through those formative years of 10 years before I continued my dream. And like I said, the support that I had and the encouragement, there's nothing that I want. When I was doing my MBA, my children were still a bit young, but I had the support of my husband and everyone around me. So I could also focus on my dream, because I knew I wanted to have that MBA at that time, so that by the time I do this 10 years and I move on, I have something, an additional qualification that would, propel me into the newer bank. So that was it. So I was focused on my dream. I was doing other things to make that dream come true, you know, but making it also a win-win situation for everybody around me.
Okay, thank you. So we have many questions. So Dr. Bakwan, I'm going to give you a different question so that you get to address the questions and move to
No
the
worries.
next question. Yeah. Lily is saying, both the speakers might have come across career women who are either single parents or unmarried, childless women. Some of those women face a lot of setbacks in their careers due to intergenerational learning that promotes a successful woman as someone who is married with children and educated. So what's your take on this issue? Or what advice can you give to the women who are not married, who are single, or don't even intend on getting married? Like, what advice do you have for them?
As married women, what I don't get the question.
She's saying there are setbacks for women who are not married. Like, as it is right now, people always say that you are successful if you are married and you are doing well in your career. And we tend to think that if you are just successful in your career, if you are doing well in your career and you don't have a family, we don't put you in that bracket of successful women. Or if you decide to be a homemaker and not focus on your career, again, we don't put you on that bracket of successful women. What's your take on this issue?
I guess every model has its own advantages and disadvantages. Just because, remember, we are not painting a rosy picture. We are not saying there are no challenges. There are challenges. And like Mao Desami said, it has to be a win-win. You are negotiating with your family. It's not like it's sail through, I can do whatever I want. And we do have challenges, but whichever model you choose or whichever circumstance or reality you find yourself in, you have to learn to navigate through. And you have to learn to appreciate that there will be challenges. It doesn't matter what you do. You stay home, there'll be issues. You work, there'll be issues. Unmarried or married, there'll be issues. So it's a matter of navigating through your own reality. In fact, yes, there is consensus reality in the sense that people will say you should be doing this. As a married woman, it's not proper for you to go to Australia for 4 years and leave your husband with a toddler. That's consensus reality. So as an individual, you have to look at your individual reality and work through that. I think I've answered it as well as possible. The long and short of it is that there are challenges.
Okay, so whether you are married, not married, the challenges are there. And it's actually the reason why we are having this panel, the stereotypes that we have in our society. So like Dr. Bakwana said, look at the individual reality and forget about what society thinks is right. Because even those women whom are termed as successful, there are challenges that they also go through. So I'm going to take 2 last comments and then we move on. I see Jane, your hand is up. Miriam, are you able to connect now? Your hand has been up for a very long time. Miriam? Miriam. Okay, Jane, in a minute, please, your comment or your question.
I have a question, not a comment, for both the speakers. My question is, you people have had success or support in pursuing your careers, but there are women, young girls or young ladies who are still in school, in universities, or maybe just starting up their careers, and maybe they don't have the kind of support that you two had, with your families. So in this scenario, what do you advise such young ladies to do? Because some would have, were even told to quit school, their education, because they are married. Some were told to actually stop pursuing their careers because they are now married by their husband. And you know that in our society, we take our husbands like they are the king, and we must stick with whatever they say. So in this scenario, what do we do for the young ladies or the young ladies who are still in school, or who are just starting up in their careers, but we're not given opportunity by their families, or don't have the support of their families to pursue what they really desire? How do we advise such young ladies? Because some of them will end up, leaving that marriage or being depressed in that marriage, which will not bring any peace to anybody.
Response, Ms. Adasomi, Dr. Bakwena. A response to what Jane just said.
It's a hard one. I don't have an answer, but I would say negotiate. I honestly don't know what would happen then. It's a hard one, unfortunately, Jane. It's
for me too. It's a hard one. I thought of it too. That you negotiate with your husband and discuss with him and see that. I mean, I don't know what the husband is thinking, but I'm sure he's thinking, oh, your school would affect taking care of the home. If you can show him that, look, if this and this, if I do this, I'll be available for this and all that. It's just going to take 2 more years. And, if you can have this support from this sister, from this, everybody around to support you. I don't believe that you should quit your dream, to quit school. I don't believe that. I believe that, they're so there's a way. There should be a way around it.
Thank you very much.
Can I say something?
The MC is on my case now. We've spent so much on this question. 30 seconds, please.
Yes. My name is Paris.
Yes.
So I wanted to say on this issue, I think as women, as mothers, we are our own failure. Because we as mothers, we are the ones who are are the trainers of children. And we as mothers, we should teach our boys that girls have rights. I just watched a video before I came in. Sorry, I came going somewhere. I was doing something else, but I just watched a video where a boy and a girl, and the boy was becoming very and my own sharing the boy. The boy.
Ngunjiri, we cannot hear you.
Who is
Can you hear what she's saying? Is it my network?
No, Ngunjiri, your network is bad.
Okay, Ngunjiri, can you write that in the chat box? We cannot hear what you're saying. Please add it in the chat box. Okay, I'm going to move to the next question. You can see Victoria is here. She's here to tell me to speed up. My next question is based on a statement I saw on the internet by the head of the UNDP's Human Development Office. He states that today the fight of gender equality is a story of bias and prejudices. in your field of expertise, what are some of the practical biases that women still face? And what do you believe can be done to eliminate such biases, such that our daughters and our granddaughters don't have to go through what we are going through, and in the long run, we can achieve sustainable development in Africa? Thank you. Dr. Bakwena, starting with you, or Mrs. Adesomi, whoever is ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so
thank you.
Yes, the biases when I was in the banking industry, then they were subtle, but they were there. So one of them was, once you're introduced to a supervisor, the presumption is that women are not intelligent. So you have to prove yourself that you are. So a man, if you're coming in with a man, the man is presumed that he knows what he's doing. So a woman has to work doubly hard to prove herself. And by the time you're at par with this man and you get to the top, the narrative changes. And it's like, oh, she's tough. She's too tough. She's a witch. Because you're doing the job professionally. So that is a bias. Another one I saw was that male subordinates don't like female supervisors. They show it. So they go on over your head to whoever is above you to speak to that person. That person is a man. And they show it. There have been situations. Then at interviews, a woman is disadvantaged. Because they're thinking when you get married, your mind is not going to be, you're not going to be as focused as when you're single. Or when you get pregnant, then you have to be taking offs and all that, sick leaves and all that. And, I have an example of this. I was pregnant when I interviewed for my first job. I was very pregnant. In fact, my interview was the longest out of, all the other, but I was recruited, but I gave birth just the day after we started our training, a 1-year training. I was given only 2 weeks. I gave birth, I had to come back after 2 weeks because nobody is going to train you. So that's a bias. I had to step up, despite the fact that I had just given birth to my, first son, and the biases about you go on maternity leave, you come back and people think that you have gone on leave, you have taken time off. So, when you come back, it's, you have to, but 3 months, even 3 months is not enough for maternity leave. The child is not, yourself, your health is not back. My granddaughter was telling me that she was forgetting things when she got back to work. So these are the biases. People are looking at you, and I can bet you don't get promoted that year that you come back from maternity leave. You don't get promoted that year. So you have to wait, despite the fact that you have been doing the work, you are better than others. So these are the biases, that we had, then. Those are some that then promotions were slower for women because you had that presumption that, oh, she's always going on to the hospital, child is, something is happening today, and all that to the family, not looking at that, your work as it is, So promotions are generally slower, for women, not because they are not as competent, but because of these presumptions.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bakwena. Biases in academics, in your place of work?
I guess the common, after hearing Maudesami, the issue of pregnancy is they look at you in a sort of way, especially for the students. I remember there was a time when we had a master's student who was pregnant, a top achieving student. And most of the colleagues were very apprehensive about supervising her because they felt, well, she'll probably take forever. And I didn't know about it at the time. I only got, I took her in and supervised it. She only told me years later that, that time I struggled getting a supervisor because of the pregnancy. But, it wasn't even based on her capability. So that's the issue of pregnancy. And the insubordination, it's an issue, whether in academia, as a head of department, whether in a boardroom, there are those subtle insubordination that you get from your male counterparts. But as women, we have to learn to rise above these things. After all, it's not your issue, it's that other person's issue. So I've had to learn to speak up when I'm invited to the table. And like they say, if you're not invited to the table, just bring an armchair and sit next to them. And then the other bias, those are the ones that Ma Odesame did mention. I won't get into them. But one, I would get patrons in the department asking for a Dr. Bakwena right in my office. And I would introduce myself, I'm Dr. Bakwena, and they'll be like, oh, we were expecting a gentleman. And in some instances, they mistake my husband, Mr. Bakwena, as the Dr. Bakwena in the professional sphere. And for some reason also, I would tell somebody that I'm an economist, and for some reason, I don't know whether they're playing dumb or what, they'll then say, oh, home economics. At first, I used to get very offended and try to offer an explanation that, no, they're not there. But now I've decided to just live with it, go with the flow. If you decide that I'm suited to be a home economist, it's okay. So those are the same with the other ones that I've come across. But you did ask about what should be done. As women, we have to stand up. Paris did say that as women, we also have to not play victims. It's not easy out there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not rosy, but you have to occupy your place. Thank you, Mrs. Philippe.
Thank you very much. I'm going to say something with reference to what Dr. Bakwena said about the female student who could not get a supervisor. She's actually referring to me. She was my master's supervisor then. And, it was really difficult. Like, I was top of the class, and just because I was pregnant, people were like, we are not going to supervise you. And I was like, but I'm not sick. It's pregnancy. What's wrong with it? And like she said, my dissertation was actually the best that year, even though they refused to supervise me. So once again, thank you very much, Dr. Bakwena, for deciding to supervise me for my master's thesis. Okay, we have questions.
Okay, sorry.
Yes,
I have some points on how to eliminate those biases. I don't know, she had said some deliberate policies. At the top in the banking industry, we don't really have women. Women go out by the senior management and all that. And what the regulator, we have a regulator, the Central Bank of Nigeria, the regulator, what they did was that they did a deliberate policy that 40% of those at the top, the decision makers, must be women. And they actually, they regulated, they come, they check, they ask for, every year they ask for the organogram of the bank. So right now we have 5 MDs that are women, managing directors that are women in Nigeria of banks. It was not like that. So gradually we're getting there. Gradually, because of their monitoring and telling people that it must be implemented. You must have women at the top. We hardly used to have women, at the top. And also employers' empathy. There must be empathy. There must be workshops. There must be workshops between men and women supervisors, heads of department, to discuss these women issues so that people would not see a pregnant woman and think, this cannot come to my department. I don't want this person in my department. They should look at the competencies, So, I mean, that's it.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take 2 comments. Genevieve, your hand is up. I don't know if you have a question or comment. And Ifeoma. Ifeoma, yeah. Ladies, can you hear me? You can unmute and comment or give your question.
All right, let me go first. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for this opportunity to be a part of this great meeting. It's been inspiring all the way. I think a few minutes ago I was disconnected. I don't know what happened. I think it was my network, but I had to reconnect back because I raised my hand then and I wanted to ask a question. And the question is this: is there any way? How do I explain this? How do I put this with the right words? Do you have to? Is there need? Yes, I think that's the right word. Is there need for you to pause childbirth in order for you and your husband to get to a certain financial level before you start giving birth to children, with the curse or with the desire just to give them a better life? Or do you advise newly married couples to just go on with childbirth, at least have 1 or 2 kids, even while you pursue your career and everything? Is there need to pause childbirth for the first 5 years of marriage or the first 3 years of marriage in order to just keep pursuing your career and get to a stable financial level before you start introducing children to the world? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to read one question here and then we'll get the response from our panelists. Have you ever experienced sexual harassment in your workplace personally by your superiors? How did you handle such situation, or how do you advise someone to handle such situation if they find themselves in this situation?
Okay.
Yes, sir. Go first, Maudesami.
I have never.
Okay.
But
it's subtle, but I would say I have. There are instances where I've been offended. Normally, my male colleagues will talk about the way I dress. And to the extent of even commenting on my body type thing. And the important thing, young ladies, is to say it. When somebody, the first moment it happens, you must tell that person that it is inappropriate. And believe it or not, they'll never do it. It will never happen.
Okay, so I didn't, but the bank where I was, there were several, because the HR came up with something, so I knew that some people would have reported. They came out with a forum, like a platform where you could, it was called whistleblowing. If you're a victim, you can report on that platform. Or if you see anyone being harassed, you can report on that platform. So I didn't, but that was put in place. So some things must have happened, in the bank. Some people would have been harassed.
Okay. Thank you very much. 2 more questions. Lily is asking, please, what's your take on feminism? That's the first question. And then this one is with reference to students who fall pregnant. Favor is asking, how can we handle or change the narrative then as women if we are supervisors, and means to avoid drama and confrontations? The second one is for Dr. Bagwena, the supervisor. And then there's also that one on feminism. Like, what's your take on feminism? Dr. Bagwena, you can go first. On the one
the question was on pregnancy, right?
Yeah, like I don't know if it's still on pregnancy because she's talking about supervisors.
Pregnancy, remember, I work for a university, and as a university, we do allow our students to fall pregnant. Okay, not in a sort of encouraging way. It happens at that age, whether all the way from undergraduate to graduate school. And we give them maternity leave, 1 week maternity leave across board. And in instances where, for instance, they get complications because of the pregnancy, we do cater for them. There is academic accommodation for that. But while the university supports it, what happens on the these subtle things that happen outside what the rule, but we do allow it. High school, yes, it's a bit early, but sometimes it happens. And that's why I guess in public schools, yes, sometimes they get accommodated after having that kid. It's not, in high school, it's a bit too early, but we live in a perfect world.
Okay, there's a question on feminism. Anyone can take it. Even I'm also giving this question to our guests. Remember, you are also part of the panel.
Yeah.
What's your take on feminism? Ms. Jane, what's your take on feminism?
I guess.
Okay.
No, in our society here, feminists, people shed a bad light in terms of feminism. And normally we associate it with single women who are married to foreigners type thing. There's that stereotype. But personally, I don't have a problem with it. If there's an issue of inequality, and as someone in leadership, you have an opportunity to change it, why not change it? I don't consider myself a feminist, but for instance, as part of the Academic Economic Research Consortium academic board, I was part of the board that advocated for the master's students to come to the joint faculty of electives with their kids, with the helpers, so that they're not left out. So I don't know whether you consider me as a feminist, but if it's a way of then helping us and making a world a better place, then let's go for it.
Okay.
Okay. Please go on.
Yes. No, it's okay, Mr. Dosam. I wanted to throw the question to the third panelist, our guests, to give us their opinion or their take on feminism, but I'll also allow you to say something like in a minute.
Me?
Can you hear me? Yes. You wanted to say something.
Oh, okay. I wanted to say something. I believe the feminists, I'm not a feminist, but I believe it's all about the rights of the woman. Is that it? It's about the rights of the women, isn't it?
Yes,
Yes.
I believe it's about that.
Yeah, I mean, we said something earlier. The lady that asked the question about the girl that was asked to leave school and all that, that if you had a husband that said that you should leave school while you're in school because you're now married, I mean, it's trampling on our rights. And there are ways to go around it. And I think I said it the other time, negotiation and all that. You don't, no, you carry the placard, no, I'm a feminist and all that. You might never get your way. I mean, negotiation and discussions with everyone involved and seeing that you have your way, you have your rights, because it's our rights. And I don't believe that she should leave school for anything or because of her status. But she should find a way to make a point and her voice heard.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Jane, your take on feminism in a minute.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My take on feminism, I don't think feminism is anything bad. Though in our part of the world here in Africa, we might, most women battle or take feminism in the wrong, they see it from the wrong angle. You understand? So feminism is it's all about equity. It's all about what we are doing here. It's all about equity. So feminism is not something that we need to see in a bad light. It's just that most people don't understand about it. It's all about rights for the women. You know, women having ability to achieve some things that their male counterparts can achieve without, experiencing those societal biases that we have right now. So I think if you call me a feminist, I don't think it's a bad thing. I see myself as one.
Okay, thank you. Amaka, can you please repeat the question that you said we missed? Because I'm also going through your comments. Apparently, there's a question that we missed. Yes.
Sorry,
yes.
the question was asked by Nilma. She asked a question on childbirth, if you need to, within the first 3 years, or if you need to postpone. I think she asked that before we read the question in the chat box.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Mrs. Abasomi, what's your advice?
It's a hard one. It's the same one as whether it's better to be single or married. I'd say it's a personal choice. It's a personal choice, but remember that the biological clock is ticking. It doesn't wait for us to be ready, either financially or otherwise. So it's something that, as a couple, you have to decide. Do you want a 7 years gap between your kids like I did? And you want to start late, as most people consider that a bit later I should have. It's just a personal choice, really.
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. I can see there's one hand up there. Can you unmute your mic and give your comment, Favor? Your comment or your question?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Actually, it's not a comment, it's just my question wasn't answered. The question was, how can we handle or change the narrative then as women if we are supervisors, and means that we can avoid dramas and confrontation from, our male subordinate and stuff like that? The question wasn't answered.
Okay. Answer to Favor's question. The third panel, our guests, please, if you have an answer, also pitch in. Remember, this is a discussion. They're not on the hot table. We're here to share ideas.
Okay, can I share my experience? So I had so what I did was that I knew that they were going over my head to get some advice or whatever from my supervisor. I just acted professionally. The goals are there, the budget is there, because I was actually a business development manager, throughout my banking career. And so I was just professional. You meet your goals, you meet the set targets and all that. So I didn't bother about what was going on around me. It was subtle, I knew it, but they didn't. I mean, if we're talking about the job, do your job, because that is how I would appraise you. No matter what you're saying behind my back or whatever, it didn't really matter to me. So you face the job. It's a job, That's it.
Thank you very much. Victoria is reminding me that I have 10 minutes. So to the next question, I'll take more comments later on. From your experience, do you think your gender affected the level you attained in the banking sector for you, Mrs. Adasomi, and in the academia so far for you, Dr. Bakwena? Do you believe that if maybe you were a man, you'll be very far compared to where you are here, or you still believe that you'd be at the same level as you are today? Starting with you, Mrs. Adesomi.
Okay, maybe not my gender, because my status as a married woman, yes. Because remember, I told you that I had to stay somewhere for 10 years while my other contemporaries were heading on. They were being promoted in the newer banks. In fact, when I decided to go on to another bank, I was interviewed by a classmate in the university. So he had gone ahead, because there were no distractions and all that. And also for the single lady, just like the doctor said, I mean, their situation is different. There are no distractions. So they go way ahead. So it's not, I don't think it's a gender thing. It's if you don't have distractions as a woman, you're as competent and you're not thinking of any other thing, you go ahead, you get ahead, because there were other women also that had gone ahead, while I was still nurturing single ladies. I mean,
Thank you very much. So there's also the marriage penalty for women.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Bakwena, in a minute.
I'll say no, for the simple reason that assessment for promotion in academia really leaves little room for subjectivity. So, in fact, most institutions would encourage women to take up opportunities. In instances where I feel I was stalled, it was out of my own personal choices. It wasn't because I was a woman.
Thank you very much. So there's progress in that one. There's another comment here. I'm going to take the comment. It's a comment and question in one from Lillian. Most women have to take poor quality jobs in the informal sector simply because they're women and have family responsibilities like taking care of children, the elderly, children and the elderly. These women contribute a lot to their economies, but are not recognized. How can we celebrate these women? To me, they are our unsung heroes. I'm going to start with a comment here to say, I've always felt that I think the problem is actually us kids who are raised by women who are in the informal sector. People will always ask you, who is your role model? And you forget that one woman who, come rain and shine, is under a tree, providing food for you, providing shelter for you and your siblings. For me, whenever people ask me, who is your role model, the first person I say it's my mom. My mom has never worked. She has always been in the informal sector. and she has provided for her siblings who are now engineers. She has provided for us. My youngest sister is now in varsity, yes, with the help of our father, who was also then working. So I believe it actually starts with us praising them to say that this is my role model. But for some reason, every time we are asked this question, we always think of other people like who are out there. We don't start at home, at the people who are making us who we are. Comment, Dr. Bakwena, Mrs. Adasoni, and to the third panelist, our guests.
I believe you summed it so well.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Mrs. Adasoni?
No comment.
Okay, to the third panelist, any comment? I'm taking one comment and moving to the next question. Victoria is on my case. She's everywhere. WeChat, Facebook. Reminding me about the time. Favor, I see your hand, it's up. Did we take your comment or your question? Genevieve,
no, I already answered me.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Any other question? Okay, there's another question that I will take at the end. The one on mental health. I'll take it after the other questions. I've noted that question and I'm going to take it. Pepe? Oh, okay, yeah. No, it's not Pepe. Genevieve.
Genevieve.
Your hand is up.
Genevieve, not me.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I guess we can move to the other question. What are your thoughts on how men could help their wives, their sisters to become the best versions of themselves and attain their highest possible potential?
I think it boils down to support. If you're encouraging the person, oh, you can go and do your master's now, you're not supporting the person, you're not doing anything. So it's support, look for how you can make life easier and share in the burden of their lives and whatever is going on around them. Then they can focus on being the best person they want to be and to go after their goals. So it's support. Look for people that can support them and share in their burden.
Yes. Dr. Bakwena, in a minute.
I agree absolutely, but I would like to add to that also as women, we have to ask for help. We shouldn't assume that everyone else knows that we are struggling and therefore we need for help. In instances where we are not getting the help, let's plead with other people to help.
Okay, I'm going to pose this question to the president. Dr. Men are quiet. I know you're someone who's very supportive when it comes to women empowerment and women's rights. What can you say to your fellow men? What is it that they have to do to help their sisters, their daughters, their wives achieve their dreams? In a minute, Dr. Oaad.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to say something about that. I think for every man, for a man to support the wife or the sisters or the other females in their lives, I think what they will need to do should be to think of the fact that doing that is for their own good, and it is for the good of everyone. And if they don't do it, they're going to be on the losing side. Again, it's like the big picture, that if there are problems everywhere, and these are people that are around us, and they are facing problems we are facing too, it's best for us to find ways to help the ladies, since there are some things that seem to be almost kind of put them at a disadvantaged position, on the default, like the issue of pregnancy mentioned. Since those realities are there and they cannot be avoided,
Recording in progress.
We're going to allow our species to keep existing and to keep moving forward. Men are never going to carry pregnancies, at least for now, to the best of our knowledge. I think some scientists are working on things around that. But at least for now, since we know that those situations, those biological realities are there, we need to intentionally plan ourselves, just as a government will make policies to ensure that they, that they get these things corrected. Men, whether married or unmarried, should also make policies for themselves, personal policies that places responsibility on themselves, making themselves know that I am responsible to ensure that these women around me, because they are women and they are not men, these disadvantages, they are not disadvantages naturally, but in terms of access to opportunities. Since these things are real, I have to place responsibility on myself, and I need to watch for it. I need to be intentional about it to ensure that I do something every time. And in every scenario, I look out for opportunities to help. If it's for my wife, that shouldn't be difficult. I should know already what I need to do for her, because that's just right there. If it's for my sisters or for other people around me, I should know also that I should look out for that and be intentional about it. Don't wait for them to request, but rather be proactive and look for ways to make that happen. Thank you very much. I'm done. I hope I was heard.
Yes, sir. You were heard loud and clear.
Great. Thank you. Okay, so it's like Mavis.
Mavis, are you there?
Yeah, I think she's experiencing network issues. Oh, you can.
Okay, no problem there. Hopefully she'll be able to join us soon. Okay, then I'm going to take the last question for the panel series. So I'll just read it for Mrs. Onyinka and Dr. Bakwena to help us out. It says, how can women in academia, banking sector, and young ladies in all sectors take advantage of new digital technologies to cope with work, family, and businesses? How can we take advantage of these new digital technologies to cope with work, family, and businesses? So, Mrs. Onyinka, I really want to hear what you have to say on this. I think that's your.
I think the COVID answered the question for us. I mean, there are a lot of, people can work from home now. But it's in two parts, because I was discussing yesterday with my daughter-in-law that how has it been? I mean, she works from home and all that. It's not easy for mothers when your children are still very young and they are I have to work because they're disturbing you. And she had that, but it's easier that you're not going to work, you're not commuting, and if you can see what is going on in your house. There's more pressure because you can now see what is going on in your house and you have to attend to it. But it's easier taking advantage of digital things. It's easier for women now. Working from home to be able to cope with all this juggling home and work. COVID has actually answered it for us, and that was good.
Thank you so much. Okay, let me just add an addition to that. Can you just tell us your 3 favorite apps, like the 3 ones that anytime, any day? Wow, just 3.
3 apps.
Yes.
Okay, so I have the MT4. That is my forex trading app. I have the OKEX app. That's for my cryptocurrency. Those are my favorite apps.
Wow.
And I also do Instagram a lot because there are a lot of people selling wares on Instagram, young, small businesses and all that. So those 3 are my favorite apps.
With what you just mentioned, without any reasonable doubt, I believe you're in the banking sector. Thank you so much. Dr. Bakwena, please, let's hear from you, ma'am. How can we make use of these digital technologies to help us, especially in the academia? I think I need to write this. Yes, ma'am, that's my...
That COVID has liberated the way we work. Yeah. We can actually work while keeping an eye on things in the home front. That's the advantage of COVID. Regrettably, though, there's a lot of burnout because most of the time you are busy running around with the housework or thinking about what's actually happening at home and also in the office. So it's liberated the way we've worked, and it's worked well if we are able to balance, which is not always easy in practice. And then my apps, the favorites, the first is LinkedIn. I spend most of the time there, and then the 2 would be and
on LinkedIn after this. Thank you so much, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm very about that. Something happened to my laptop, so now I'm okay. Any comments from our audience, comments, questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Thank you. So, to our 2 guests, I hope you understand this as one of the questions the moderator asked about sexual harassment. But I would say that you both are looking very young and beautiful, even though you have all these children who are old now and working hard in different places. So I would like to ask some things to do. I'm also to all. My wife is also having a great time taking care of herself, having also had children, her own children. So just kind of things that could be shared that could help people and thoughts, and maybe for men too, because the pressure is also on everybody.
In all this hustle and bustle, pressure and all that, don't forget yourself. And that's what I'm going to say. Don't forget yourself. I had been watching what I eat for years and years. I take care of it. Have a downtime. If it's to watch a movie, go out and watch a movie alone, not even with anybody. You must be, she said something about mental health, and we have not addressed that. If you forget yourself and you let yourself be consumed by what is happening around you, it will affect your emotions, your mental health. And it is very easy for a woman to get into all that. So you must have downtimes. If you love reading, have a downtime. Let your husband take care of the kids for an hour, 2 hours. Just space out. Watch a movie, go to Netflix, watch a movie, or go out, or have have some drinks with your friends. You know, you need that downtime. Both for men and women, actually. You need the downtime away from everything.
Thank you very much. Dr. Bakwena, do you want to add anything? We are out of time.
Okay, I think I missed the question because I thought the question was on sexual harassment.
But no. He was saying the question was with reference to how you look. So he was saying, please don't take it as sexual harassment.
Okay, I would. We should share our secrets. Ma Odesame is right. Take care of yourself. It's about your needs. You have to be able to. I mean, if you watch what you eat and you take good care of yourself, you are able to take care of other people. I don't know, most of you who've been in an aeroplane, they tell you that in an event of an emergency, and you don't have pressure, you must always help yourself before you can help other people. So how can you take care of your family or the other business if you are not in good health? So indeed, I do take care of myself. And Mrs. Kulube knows that normally I wouldn't be working on a Sunday. So this is special. We've had a long talk about it because I said, but you know, I don't work on Sunday type things. But, you know, be wary of what you need. And if you feel tired, take care of yourself, take a break. Don't wait for illness to come because illness will force you to take that break if you don't take it by yourself. So that would be my take on that one.
Thank you.
Basically, nothing.
Thank you.
A short, that's the short way of agreeing with Ma Odessa.
Thank you very much. One last question before we end this. There's a question about mental health in the group chat. Victoria, can you read the question for us? I've lost my chat because I've reconnected. I remember there was a question on mental health, and I want us to wrap up with this because this is something globally currently it's a challenge. We will not do justice if we don't discuss the issue of mental health. Anyone who has access to the chat from around 10 to...
Yeah, I think I'm on it now.
Okay, thank you.
The message was from Kina. She said, mental health related. With what is currently happening around the globe, misplacement and pandemic, how do people who can't afford therapy get help in Africa and the world at large? Is there a system in place? Also in Africa, how can we create more awareness on mental health challenges? That's the question from Kina. How do people who can't afford therapy get help in Africa? Is there a system in place? And how can we create more awareness on mental health challenges?
I think let's take number 2.
Yes.
Because it's coming home. And to create it's to get people that actually go through these things, that people think they have it all together. Now, my first son, at some point, he's the CEO of this company, a startup company. At some point, because of some issues that he had, he went through some sort of depression. It was light depression, but he went through therapy. And when he was being interviewed for other things, he spoke about it. So you would think that, and this is online. So people were saying, oh, we thought you had everything together and all that. So you went through this. So people must talk more about it and how they were able to overcome it. So there's therapy actually, because he went through therapy, at that time, during that time. during that period. So, I mean, talking more about it from people that are up there, that you think, oh, I mean, that's one way of creating awareness about it.
Thank you very much. Dr. Bakwena, do you want to add anything or?
Yeah, I guess it's about talking more about it. And also it boils down to knowing what's going on in your bed, in your body, even in your mind. And being able to, I know some issues from an African standpoint we don't discuss, at least from this part, but I don't know if I'm wrong if I say it's an African. There are certain things that we don't discuss. So it's important, like Maudesami said, it's important for people out there to be aware that it does happen, even to the best of us. I've battled with it, and it was only through talking about it, because initially I thought, hey, this getting therapy is a Western thing. That's what I thought, honestly, until such a time when somebody said, but you must seriously deal with this thing. In terms of those who can't afford the family system, we should be there to listen, or even the concerns. I hope but basically what Maudesami said, it's 100%, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. In a minute, we still have so many questions and comments. I'm going to ask you ladies to share your social media handles, your Twitter, your LinkedIn, so that our ladies can link up with you and continue the conversations. Dr. Bakwena, your LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is Malebogo Bakwena, and then Insta is Bakwena Lebo, and then Lebo Bakwena for the Twitter.
Okay, thank you. We'll also share in our WeChat groups. Mrs. Odasame, your
Okay.
LinkedIn.
My LinkedIn, I have to look at it.
I've actually tried to search you on LinkedIn and I could not find you.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay, so you call this on me. My LinkedIn is Oiko Adesomi. Is there? Yeah, that's it. That's my LinkedIn.
Okay, yeah.
My Instagram is Bonike68. It's Bonike. Let me be sure. I'm seeing in the chat.
Yes, yes. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies, for taking your time on a Sunday to join us, and really enjoyed this discussion that we had. I just want to say that this issue of gender biases, it's a serious issue. It's not just an issue from an economic point of view that people are given opportunities, people are not given equal pay, but just concluded it's an issue that even affects us as women, girls, mentally. So to all of us who are here, I'm saying changing the gender biases, the stereotypes, it starts with us from home. What we say to our sisters, what we say to our daughters, and to our sons. So let's be the change that we need in our society. Let's do it for our daughters, do it for our grandkids. Thank you very much. And over to you, Victoria. And my apologies for the delay.
Okay, thank you so much, Mavis. You've done wonderfully, fantabulous. Thank you so much, Dr. Bakwena, and thank you, Mrs. Adesumi. I had a wonderful time. Very wonderful. Thank you. It's so wonderful having you and all these things. I just think we can continue. Just having this discussion. I think we should make it like a weekly Sunday event. Yes. But
No, she doesn't work. She doesn't work on Sundays.
We can create an extra job a week. Like after Sunday, we have another day before Monday. But that's the same. We had a wonderful time. We had a splendid time. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are actually honored.
But for you, I made an
Thank you so very much. So moving on, we're going to be taking the closing remark from our own OWN coordinator in the person of Jane. Okay, so please the yes from Mrs. Jane Aleke.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you so much. I want to thank everybody that for the precious time to make this event a success. I want to thank you all for just attending this meeting. It's a great privilege for us all. And I also want to express my profound gratitude to the speakers that they have time to be with us today. The persons of Dr. Bakwena and Mrs. Adesami and the Ambassador Chimezie Ikoma Ogu. Also, our president, our able president, I thank you all for being here tonight. Showing us, so many things, that we need to know, concerning the biases that has been experienced in Africa by women. And also, I also want to say that it's a great success, because right now I feel like we should extend even the time to even talk more, because I still have a lot of stuff to talk about. But I think when we connect outside the meeting, we can also discuss on that. So it's a great honor to be all of your meets. Also, I want to say that we see work is already going on in the Oaad Women's Network, but more work needs to be done, and we can only do more work with all of your support. So everyone that has been that is in this meeting today, or that is now a network, I pray that you also put in your more effort to join us and do great things through Oaad Women's Network. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Jane. I think that was the closing remarks. So, the last but not the least thing that we still have to get on doing, it's been a memorable event. We've inaugurated OWN. We've had a wonderful time discussing and sharing thoughts and ideas. So to actually solidify the entire meet, could you just open your videos and let's try to take a face shot, a screenshot, whatever it is, for future documentations and every other thing. We know that a day like this has been and is been. And please start getting ready for the 2023 version of this. It's going to come in a grand and more wonderful and more succinct way. So please, let's open our videos as we try to take a photo of everyone else. I'm seeing Hoda. Wow. Madam Secretary, it's great seeing you here. Okay, please are still waiting for us. Favor, your questions will be wonderful. Do the waiting fast. On the chat box, just give us pa. Thank you so much. I want to see you here, please. Mrs. Onika, please play the video once more. Thank you so much. Amaka, Lydia, Miriam. Oh, Your Excellency, our Honorable Dr. Ode, is he still with us, please?
Yes, he's smiling. He's the best.
I need to take this screenshot perfectly well, like the faces have.
I think she's talking about the ambassador, right? Yeah.
Yes, sir, the ambassador himself.
Okay. I'm looking at yeah.
Remember the message on the WeChat.
Okay, please a reminder to encourage our PhD holders and PhD students. Please be encouraged to join the OAAD. We are the Organization of Academic African Doctors. And please, if you're already in the OAAD, ensure to join a research group. You've heard that we have a team that is also upcoming, so please try to get yourself active. If you need to maybe contact on that, feel free to reach out to any of us here, please. Let this not be the end of the narrative. Dr. Elijah, please, can we get the link for our communication so they can reach to us? We have a link that you can contact information.
Yeah.
Okay.
OAAD Global and all social media handles. OAAD Global.
Yes, ma'am, can you help us in the chat box? Thank you. So many information. Yes, please. We're about taking us. We're about taking. Please don't close the cameras yet. We're just about taking the picture. Are we set? Are we good to go?
Many cameras are still closed.
Yes. Genevieve, your questions were wonderful.
Abdullah, Paul.
What next, Miriam?
Yes.
Very well. It's still not back yet. I can see Mr. Yinka now. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just take as much as I can.
Yeah, I hope you capture my voice.
How am I supposed to capture your voice, Mr. President? Okay, I'm trying my best. I've captured the smile. That's the most important. Yes, family. Okay, and that's for today. Yes, I think I've taken some wonderful stuff. So thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of us for showing up for today's event. I appreciate our facilitators, the coordinators, organizers, everyone that had a role to play, and our participants. You guys were so wonderful and so fabulous. So please, once again, remember to join the OAAD group and the research teams and start planning for the OWNIWD series of 2023. It's going to be fantabulous. Thank you so much, everybody. Mavis, I think I'm done at my end.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Great job.
Please, those are videos that didn't play well. Can we play them now? Those network, we need to establish OAD satellites. Fodama, you say something, please.
I said it was perfect.
Wow, that's good.
Congratulations to us.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So you guys did a good job. Great job.
So please, officially the meeting is over, but we are free to interact, to exchange, communicate, and then get to know each other better.
Yeah. Thank you very much, our guests. Thank you so much. We'll keep in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I want to tell everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Great.
Link up with, let's link up with one another in our social networks, so that we have a network outside just the WeChat and stuff. Okay, please. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very happy to see all your beautiful faces today, especially our queens, Victoria.
That is gender discrimination. Why especially our queens?
Because recently we have been busy working together, so we didn't have time to have video call or something. So I can see your faces. So today I'm like so happy.
Okay. I have to leave the meeting and attend to something very fast. Thank you very much.
For those remaining, the BSc students, the master students, if you have a friend, a female, who is into PhD studies, you can always recommend OAD to them. We want to work together to achieve greatness. And for those also aspiring to PhD students, you're welcome to work with us. Thank you.
Correct. Yes. This is good.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Victor. You've done a great job. So let's talk more substantially. We haven't talked enough. Yeah. I really appreciate the quick response and getting things done. Yeah. A lot will be done for the continent, and we have what it takes and have people here. So we just need to package ourselves correctly and keep targets, because those targets are real and we can get them done. Thanks for your input. All the best. All the best. Yeah, maybe it's all right. Yeah. So it's like this video is the video afraid of Zoom? Why doesn't it play here?
So you said?
It's like this video is afraid of Zoom. It doesn't play here. Yeah, it's not really playing.
Sorry, Dr. Elijah, are you saying something?